And we back like we never left. I am your host, the one, the only, the legendary Live Zone, and I'm here with my co-host Mozzie. Mozzie, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So in this week's Extra Point, we got a huge one coming to you, starting off with our guy, Mr. Mac Jones. Let's get into it. How are you feeling about Mac Jones this season, and what are we expecting the Patriots to do with him after the Dallas loss?
Uh, is there anything good to say?
I don't know. Is
I,
there
I
anything
don't
good to say?
I don't think so. This man looks like he couldn't win a game with the San Francisco 49ers. Uh,
Ooh,
he looks
okay.
he looks slow on the field. And
Yep.
not in a good way. He's unathletic in today's quarterbacks. He can't scramble. No ability to be a threat in the run. No one on the team is behind him. Nobody's supporting Mac Jones. No players speaking out about he's always out there cranking it out, putting the work in. I mean, he's a bona fide McDonald's employee. He's showing up for his 9 to 5. You know,
Wow. Okay.
uh,
I like it.
I think Patriots need to get ready to deal him. Get him out of there. He's not
Yep.
the answer. Switch it up. Uh, plenty of ways that they can go about it. And honestly, if they make a move quick enough, they might be able to finish with a winning record this year.
I don't think so. I think the Patriots are done for the season, especially after losing both Matthew Judon and the rookie Christian Gonzalez in the same week. I think that hurt tremendously. But let's talk about some stats over here, because everybody wants to give Mac Jones all this praise and all the excuses in the world for being a C plus quarterback. So let's talk about it. All right. First week, he had a good week. I feel like that was because of Brady being in the stands. Had 316 yards, 3 touchdowns with 1 interception. We then go into the next week where we see him go against the Miami Dolphins, 231 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. We then see him go against the New York Jets, where we have him at 201 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. And then we have him go against the Dallas Cowboys, who has 150 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So, what is this telling me? Yes, he has 898 passing yards, better than he was doing last year, but I see him increasingly declining in what he's doing for passing yards. I do see that he has 5 touchdowns in the last 4 games, and then after that, he only has 1 touchdown, though, because he has 4 interceptions that took replace of that. What am I seeing with Mac Jones? Mac Jones is a bona fide scrub. He should not be the quarterback for the New England Patriots. Now, looking at this, Bill Belichick, we talked about it last week, right? We talked about how Mac Jones hasn't worked out. Giving him the rookie quarterback was the worst decision we ever made, that type of thing. But it's not Bill that's throwing the ball. It's not Bill making the decisions. Mac Jones is looking like, seriously, a high school quarterback right now with his
Absolutely.
decision making. And not even just that, we talk about clock management, which is the number one thing you should have as an NFL quarterback. And that's the reason why we lost the game against the Philadelphia Eagles, which is one of the best teams in the league right now. I just think that this guy is not worth the time for the New England Patriots. I agree with you. I think we should be looking to deal him. Do I think we should do it yet? No, I think we should wait till the offseason, because this season is already a wreck as it is without Matthew Judon. But what I see next season, Kyler Murray's coming back. I'm just saying Dobbs is going to be an option. And I would make that call as soon as possible. I would even give them a first-round draft pick with it, because honestly, the way that Bill's been drafting lately, it hasn't been working out either. So what does that tell me? Mac Jones is not your guy. What do you think, Mozzie?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you 110%. I could see Mac Jones not even being a starter in this league come next year. That's just the reality of it. Like you said, he looks like a JV player out there.
Yeah.
It's just not happening, and I don't see any fire or energy or something that would push me in the direction to keep believing that he could possibly grow into this great quarterback. He's put into a system that for over 20 years has been tried and true and making the playoffs every single year and whatnot. And he still can't make anything of it. I really like it if the Patriots did the swap with the Chicago Bears and threw Mac Jones into an organization that resembles his play and put Justin Fields into an organization that could elevate him. I think it'd be a great move.
I like that move, but like I said, that Dobbs kid, Joshua Dobbs on the Arizona Cardinals, he's going to be up for grabs next year with Kyler Murray being the starting quarterback and coming back. So with that being said, you could throw that and a pick in for Dobbs and get a really good quarterback that's very underrated and not appreciated in the position that he's in right now. But with that being said, I do like how you brought up Justin Fields because that is the next quarterback that we're going to be talking about. The next quarterback that, has been having a little bit of problems this year. So let's look into his stats. We have going against Green Bay, 216 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Then after that, in week 2, we go against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We have 211 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. We have the Kansas City Chiefs. 99 yards, not even 100, 99 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Then we go over to Denver and he increases by the biggest margin that he's had all year, 335 yards, 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. So with that being said, he has 861 yards for the year. He's not getting worse. In fact, he's going up and down, which is stagnant for the team that he's on right now. He has 7 touchdowns and he has 5 interceptions. How are you feeling about him in the organization and where he's at right now? Do you think that the Chicago Bears can still be saved?
No. Bears are done. Bears are gone. Yeah. Consider it wraps on the year. That's nothing to Justin Fields. That's a tribute to the organization, the culture, and the players that they have on their team. The scenario is I feel bad for Justin Fields. I think he has raw talent that just needs to be developed correctly. I think the organization of the Chicago Bears never, ever has had a focus on their quarterback through all their years of existence. So, I think it's just an unfortunate situation for Fields to be in. I think it's time for him to start exploring his options, interviews, sideline conversations. He's just not there. He seems frustrated. He seems moments away from snapping and this going down bad. The game last week against the Broncos, they're up 28-7 with 1 minute left in the third quarter. They blow a Falcons lead against the Patriots and end up losing the game. And like you said, the stats that Justin Fields put up, 4 TDs, 1 interception, a bad fumble, but 335 yards, and you can't seal the deal. What's going on? What's really going on?
I feel like that's mainly based off of the defense and how the defense is in a poor state right now. I do agree with you. I think that the Chicago Bears is done. Do I think that they can get a playoff spot still? I think they have a better chance than the New England Patriots do because the New England Patriots went back to, the 80s Patriots for no reason, I guess. But, that's a whole different story. And, I'm a Patriots fan, so I hate to say that. I hate saying that, like, we're back in the 80s. We're back in the 80s version of the New England Patriots where we're going to see us losing every year. But, it's a sad fact that, Justin Fields is in a really, really, bad position, but he's a great quarterback type of thing. And, talking about kids that are coming up and rising up, let's go over to Aiden O'Connell. The Las Vegas Raiders backup quarterback, rookie year, coming in after Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt against the LA Chargers, coming out with 238 yards. Looking pretty good out there, especially with Devontae Adams. And then after that, messing it up and having 1 interception. What can we expect from Aiden O'Connell? And is there going to be a QB race between Aiden O'Connell and Jimmy Garoppolo when Jimmy gets back?
Yeah, so I know you're hyped about him. I was looking at him a little bit, and I'm not impressed. Other than 238 yards passing, what did he do? He had a QBR of 8. for the game.
I
A
mean,
QBR of 8 for the game. No touchdowns, 1 interception, and he ran one in. He did look comfortable in the pocket.
right?
Do I think that there is a quarterback race that is going to develop eventually in the future? Yes, because I just have no faith in Jimmy G. But for the time being, when Jimmy G comes back, it's Jimmy G's team. I don't think he's going to be able, unless he puts up 3-4 touchdowns, no picks, and a 250 ball in yards again and gets a win. I mean, they still lost by 7 to their division opponents, and Herbert might as well have had a cast on his arm half the game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but at the same time, you're putting this rookie kid that was looking good, really good in a regular season game where, he wasn't, maybe expecting it because, there was some talks about how Jimmy G was going to play. He wasn't going to play. And then last minute decision, Jimmy decided not to play. Right. And then after that, we have this kid coming through, having a connection with Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers that, not even Jimmy Garoppolo has right now. I mean, the kid really put his arm through there. I mean, he has a good arm and he just made one bad decision. I mean, looking at Aiden O'Connell, I'm taking him over Mac Jones any day.
Yeah, I'm taking a lump of coal over Mac Jones any day of the week. I think a stagnant object could do better than he can right now. But as far as either way, Jimmy G, Aiden O'Connell, I don't see Las Vegas making a run in the playoffs or making it to a Super Bowl anytime.
I mean, and I see not Super Bowl, but wow, not even playoffs with Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers. I mean, and their defense isn't that bad either. Their defense really saved the game to begin with.
No.
I don't know. I see this team, if this kid keeps on doing what he's doing and they move on from Jimmy Garoppolo, I see this kid being a good sign for the Las Vegas Raiders. Well, I mean, do you have anything else that you want to add either about Mac Jones, Justin Fields, other quarterbacks? I mean, we can talk about Zach Wilson and how he had a great game against Kansas City. I mean, looking at him, I know he's not a franchise quarterback. I know he's a C+ quarterback, but it's better than having a D+ quarterback that says he's a C+ quarterback. I'm just saying, like, Zach Wilson did great last week, and I think that he has some potential there if he keeps on connecting with with these receivers and everything like that. Kid shows some potential. I mean, I guess I would say. Do I think the New York?
We forget that he was a number one pick. So
yeah,
I mean, at one point, he had something that everybody desired. So do I think that you can pretty much just lose that in raw talent and ability? No, it's still in there. Does he need to find the right prep and the right mindset and the right training and the right people to surround himself with? Yes, 100%. Is that much easier said than done? Yes. Do I think he can really get much worse than what the Jets are already experiencing? No, not really. I think the Jets should be optimistic, open-minded, whatever you have. Your season was done the moment Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles, no matter what. Just ride with the ride. Give him supports. Hopefully he can prove something to you. Give him at least more than 3 games. I mean, he was expecting to ride the bench and learn from Rodgers all year. He was not prepared to hop in this season and go in at all. The last thing he thought was Aaron Rodgers was going down, and it's his worst nightmare. So, I say I feel bad for the kid because I know he's not a terrible person and he doesn't deserve all the flack that he's getting. He does need to step up his game, but also, end of the day, you gotta weigh it out and realize where he's at also.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. But like the receivers that he has going against a good Kansas City defense, because let's be honest, Kansas City based their season off of their defense this year instead of basing it off of their offense. I'm looking at this as a plus for Zach Wilson, and I think that he had a way better week than Mac Jones did, and a way better week than this Aiden O'Connell kid did. So, I mean, it shows a little bit of potential.
Absolutely.
All right, but with that being said, that has been all for the extra point segment. Stay tuned for more. We are going to head into the dynamics of the hardwood, where we talk about some things shaking up. So stay tuned for that.
Welcome back to Live Zone Sports. Mozzie here, back with the living legend, the one and only Live Zone. We're back here with Dynamics on the Hardwood. We got a couple of great topics today. We're going to start out this week, though, with what's going on with Damian Lillard. What happened? I'm sure everybody's heard the news, but let's break it down. What do you have to say about it? You like it?
I mean, I personally like it for the Trailblazers more than I like it for anybody else. But we will go through the whole trade here. So the Bucks end up receiving Damian Lillard. The Trailblazers then end up getting a prime center in DeAndre Ayton. They get Jrue Holiday, a 2029 first round pick, and 2 first round pick swaps with the Bucks. And then the Suns receive Grayson Allen, Keon Johnson, Nasir Little, and Nurkic. So they get a center as well. I think it benefits the Phoenix Suns as well because now you have a guy that can go out and give you 10 and 10 without wanting the ball more. But the Blazers, I mean, looking at the move that they made, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you get Scoot, you have Simons, you have DeAndre Ayton now, and then after that, we'll get into another trade that shook up the whole NBA as well. That they also ended up getting 2 more pieces that I was like, all right, the Blazers could be something this year, right? So, how are you feeling with the trade? Who do you think won the trade? I do want to mention before you do, though, I do want to say that the Miami Heat dodged a bullet because I think that the Miami Heat have their depth and they're going to be just as good as they were last year.
I agree with the Miami Heat. I think Jimmy Butler is coming back for blood. I love the new emo look. Oh my God, that was crazy. But in regards to the trades, I think the Trailblazers got some good pieces as well. Do I think they're going to be really what we're going to be talking about come end of the year this year? No, I don't at all. Do I think the Bucks won this trade? Absolutely. I mean, looking at their depth chart now, that starting 5 with 4 people that are on the offensive end and defensive end menacing. 3 of them are over 6'10", ready to go anytime. Lopez, Giannis, Middleton. Now you're adding Damian Lillard, who's a distributor and a shooter, and a mentality that you're bringing to your team. Shakes up the locker room. I mean, then just look at your bench. The depth is there.
It still doesn't excite me though because your starting shooting guard is now Pat Connaughton. I mean, I don't know. I feel like yes, they didn't give up much for it, but here's the thing: they gave up their future for it. So what happens when Brook Lopez ends up getting old and retires? Because that's coming up soon. What happens when Chris Middleton ends up blowing a knee out or something like that because he's injury prone? What happens when these things start to happen? You're not going to have those draft picks to rely back on. I don't know. Looking at the Bucks, you took a win now situation, of course, because everybody wants to win a championship, especially when you have a top 5 player in the league. But looking at this, you still have to go against the Celtics. You still have to go against the Suns. You still have to go against these teams that are up and rising and coming out for blood. You still have to go against the Miami Heat. I'm just saying, what happens if we see kind of like an Aaron Rodgers type of situation where it's like, oh, this big thing happened. They're going to be the best team in the league. And then after that, 2 games into the season, okay, well, Damian Lillard's hurt now. What do we do? Right? That's the thing that I'm looking at.
Hindsight is always 2020. I mean, you're going to know what you're getting yourself into. I know the Milwaukee Bucks are in a win now situation. They want to get Giannis more and more. They want to make Giannis happy and get him his pieces. When you're trading for somebody like Damian Lillard, 34 years old, 33, 34, He wants to win a championship. He wants to win now. You're going into this trade knowing this is a win now situation. If you really want to put yourself in that scenario, you'll do it at all costs. If you don't want to put your scenario, you don't put your eggs in the basket. It's just plain and simple like that. So the Bucks are going for all in on their eggs right now, trying to cash in on the championships. I think they should still be favorites. Giannis is still a freak. They have a healthy Middleton for the first time in a few years. They're adding Damian Lillard. Brook Lopez is still on there. Their depth on the bench is there. They're just as strong as every other team. And I think teams are thinking that they're on their way out, and they might pull a sneaky one and shock a lot of teams as well.
You see, I don't think that that's going to happen. I think that you have four teams that you have to get past, right? For me, my number one team still in the NBA. Well, why are we not talking about the NBA champions? Why are we not talking about the Denver Nuggets that only lost one piece, that really only played 10 minutes for the game, right? Yeah. So that's the Denver Nuggets are still there. They're still a deadly threat, and they're still probably the favorites to win next season as well, because they still have Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. My thing, though, is they still have to go against the Boston Celtics. Let's get into the other trade, because the other trade that happened was a whole new dynamic. So the Celtics ended up getting Jrue Holiday from the Blazers, and in return, giving them Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams, a 2024 first-round pick from the Warriors, not from the Celtics, and a 2029 unprotected first-round pick from the Celtics. I think that this was one of the smartest moves that they could have made, because now, all right, you turn around. Yes, all right, Jrue Holiday is a defensive point guard. He's going to be a great asset to the team. We talk about bench and how good the Milwaukee bench is. But what happens when you have to go against a starter on the bench lineup for the Boston Celtics and Derek White? You know what I mean? So like the Milwaukee Bucks, they still have to get past people. And, another team that we're not talking about much is, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers still. That team is coming out for blood that nobody's talking about. I think the two favorites for the NBA Finals this year, and this is very bold and very early predictions, I'd say the Denver Nuggets going against the Cleveland Cavaliers are the favorites, because both teams didn't change much. We talked about chemistry last week and everything like that, and how the teams didn't change. Well, the Milwaukee Bucks just changed a lot, and the Celtics changed a lot. So therefore, my top two favorite picks are the teams that didn't change, and that's the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Denver Nuggets.
That's a very hot take here. I'm not even going to get into that. Cleveland Cavaliers is crazy. That's all I'm going to say on that. Denver, I see for sure, but it's going to be Bucks, Celtics, or Heat, one of the three.
Really?
100%. The Jrue Holiday trade for the Celtics, love the trade. They got I didn't think you could really upgrade from losing Marcus Smart, but I think this is about as close as you could possibly get to it.
Ooh, that's a hot take as well. I don't think this is as good as Marcus Smart, but I do think that this is, a good option if we don't have Marcus Smart. Do I think it's near Marcus Smart, though? No, because Jrue Holiday is not getting any younger. Marcus Smart isn't either, but Marcus Smart is a little younger than Jrue Holiday.
That's fine. I like Jrue Holiday's scoring more than Marcus Smart's.
Okay.
Where I like Marcus Smart's defense a little more than Jrue Holiday's, but apples to oranges, take your pick. Yep. That's why I say it's as close as possible to replacing him, or maybe 0.5% better, just in my eyes. Definitely have some questions though with the Celtics bench going into this year. I was reading over the bench. I didn't recognize a single name. So
I mean, do you want to go over it? I can go over it with you right now.
Absolutely.
All right. So we got Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard is an underrated point guard that didn't get enough minutes, was unhappy with his situation as a third stringer. Now he gets to be a backup point guard and show why he's worth something in the NBA. Yeah. I think that's good, especially with his 3-point percentage on what he did play last season. I like where he's at. All right. Shooting guard, we now have Derek White. I mean, no introduction there. Saved the season last season. Came from the San Antonio Spurs winning culture. Came to a Boston Celtics winning culture, and he prospered. All right. Then we have O'Shea Brissett. Brissett is a 3-point shooter that came from Indiana, killed us, had 24 points in one of the games against us. And that's what made Brad Stevens look into him a little bit more. He's basically a deadly 3-point shooter that can play a little bit of defense. Luke Cornett, last year, one of our backup centers. We now have him as a backup center again with the addition of Gabriel that we just signed today. And that ends up happening to be, all right, well, what if situation? Because Gabriel is a very good backup that played for a lot of different winning organizations. And then after that, for our power forward, for our backup, we have a young and prospering Jordan Walsh, which I think is a great fit for him right now. He needs to get in that lineup a little bit. He needs to, get a few minutes because I think he has the potential to be a starter. So with that being said, I mean, our bench is not looking bad either.
The bench, it has potential. Now, I don't want I don't want to be going for an NBA championship and being like, well, if my bench has potential and plays well, I'm going to win a championship. But if they don't, I'm not going to win a championship. I'd rather have a solid bench that I know and could rely on. Now, that's just my personal opinion. But if the bench for the Celtics this year could play 80% up to what they played last year for the team, I think they can make a deep run again.
I think you're going to see a better team than last year. I think really what we're looking at right now is we're looking at the start of a big four happening in the Boston Celtics. Once again, just like the Rondo, Allen, Pierce, and KG days, we now have Jrue Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kristaps Porzingis. And if Kristaps can be healthy, I really do see this team being better than the 08 team.
And I'm calling out Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum this year, and that they need to bring this team together, lead them by example, show up in the big moments, and fully come through. It's their make or break year in my eyes at this point, whether I'm going to be on board with them for the long run or not. They need to make it happen. They need to make it happen this year.
I mean, for me, I'm going to give them a few more years. All right, here's the reason why, okay? We have a team that is newly set up, doesn't really have the chemistry that they had, so they're going to need to build chemistry this year. Do I see them winning a championship this year? No, I see them maybe losing in the Eastern Conference Finals, if not going to the finals, and then after that, losing to Denver Nuggets. Now, with that being said, in 2 to 3 years, once this team stays together and has all the chemistry and everything like that, do I see this team being good enough for an NBA championship? 110%. Now, you have to remember, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are, only 24, 25 years old?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and they've made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and NBA Finals how many years in their time being together? I see this team working out. I just think that right now what they need to rely on is they need to rely on the chemistry. Well, with that being said, that has been all for the Dynamics on the Hardwood. Let us know who you think won the trades. Do you think Portland won the trade, or do you think a team like Boston ended up winning the trade? Let us know in the comments down below. And by the way, before we go over to the Live 5 list, have you subscribed yet? Because we've been putting in a lot of work for TCN to make sure that you know that this is not just any podcasting company. This is the consumption network where you consume so many different things. So if you haven't yet, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and stay tuned for the Live 5 list. Everybody, welcome back to another Live Zone Sports Live 5 list segment. I am your host, the one, the only, the legendary Live Zone, and I'm here with my co-host. I'll let you introduce yourself this time.
What's up, everybody? Mazza here.
So for this Live 5 list, we got a very, very intriguing one here for you. We got, are the Bengals 3 and out? Are the Bengals all done? So I'm going to let you go ahead, and I'm going to let you take your takes on it.
Awesome. Interesting topic here. Do I think the Bengals are done for this year? Yes. And here's why. Their remaining schedule is one, realistically. Looking at it, I think they'll prevail to a cool 6-7 over the last 13 games of their season. They got games against the Chiefs, 49ers, Jags, Colts, Bills, Ravens. I don't think they win any of those games, flat out. Honestly, they even play Seattle, and I think they're going to lose that one as well. So
that's a hot take, but go for it.
Realistically, I'm looking at them finishing 7-10 and at best 8-9 on the year. Definitely considering this season a wash. Number 2, no one is producing. The Bengals have 4 offensive touchdowns through 4 games, which for this offense is ridiculous.
Horrific.
Yeah, ridiculous. The numbers they were putting up before had people laughing and putting them automatically into the conference finals. The defense, average. Average ain't going to win you no games. It's not great. It's not bad. It's right in the middle. But the offense is bottom tier. Burrow's bottom quarterback in QBR and completions and yardage and passing and touchdowns and every offensive category that you could pretty much think about it. 3, leading into that is Burrow's just trying to be a hero. He's not 100% healthy. He needs to sit back and take a couple weeks off, get himself right. He hasn't been the same since training, since the preseason, excuse me. The ship's already sinking. What's letting some more water in going to do? Consider it a wash. Maybe you can get to 500 on the year, but I mean, realistically, why are you doing that to yourself? Number 4, most important one probably is the luck had to run out at some point. I mean, Jamar and Burrow getting drafted, same draft, same team, after winning the championship at LSU, going to the conference final.
They were a draft apart, I think. I'm pretty sure they were a draft apart.
2019 or 2020 and then 2019?
I believe so, yes. Yeah, because Joe Burrow didn't have 1 year with them.
Okay.
And that was the year that he got injured.
Still, Burrow coming in, having a solid year his first year, not the crazy star, but then once Jamar came on, popped off even more. Pretty much a conference champion or a playoff berth guaranteed, possibly conference championship. 3 straight years making deep runs. Bottom 3 offensive line all last year and still making a run and finishing 12-4. Going to the conference championship. Something was about to give. The luck had to run out, and I think it's time in Cincinnati. They might throw in the towel for this year, but I don't think they need to get rid of Joe Burrow by any means whatsoever.
Okay. All right. I agree with you, but here's what I'm going to say. I do think that they're done. And the reason why isn't behind Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think he's number, 3 out of 5, so I do think that we need to slow down a little bit on the Joe Burrow part. We need to start looking at the whole team as a whole. Here's the problem, right? Coaching staff does not know how to coach, does not know when the right plays that are needed to be played, put in the system the right way, right? That's number 1. Number 2, the connections are not there between Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. That's a problem when Jamar Chase is a top 5 wide receiver in the league and Joe Burrow is a top 3, quarterback in the league. All right. That's number 2. Number 3, their offensive line sucks. There is not a worse offensive line in the NFL right now. And that is a huge problem when your quarterback, which is a franchise quarterback and a top 3 quarterback in the league, is getting sacked 6 times a game because you don't want to pay people to protect them. That is a problem. All right. Number 4, we then after that have these wide receivers are going to want money. And what happens when their contracts run out? What happens when T. Higgins walks out because he got more money somewhere else? What happens when Jamar Chase is like, all right, well, they're offering me a lot more, and they're offering me a championship contender when the Bengals can't even be a contender in their division. All right. So that's number 4. And then number 5, Joe Burrow getting hurt is going to lead to a serious injury if they don't get him help soon. So therefore, do I think that the Cincinnati Bengals are done? For the moment, yes, that could change. But for the moment, yes, I do think that this team is going to be done and going to blow up in a few years. And it's not going to be anybody else's fault except for the staff. The players are fine. The players are good. It's just that the staff doesn't want to get people to protect Joe Burrow. That is the problem here. How you feel about that?
Agreed. I don't think it's the offensive players. The defense is average.
I agree.
The offensive line, terrible.
It's the worst in the league. It is like there are college teams that have a better offensive line. You know what? Probably pretty close to a whole damn nation that has a better offensive line than the Cincinnati Bengals right now. And that is awful. There are some high school teams that have a better offensive line right now than the Cincinnati Bengals. It just shows that, and your point on Joe Burrow not being 100%, that leads to the offensive line letting people go, sacking him 6-7 times a game. That's a problem. You need to fix that. You need to make some moves for your offensive line. We've seen Bill Belichick do it with some players this season, and right before the season started, being like, listen, we don't have the offensive line. We need to go get some people. But that's what Cincinnati needs to do. Cincinnati needs to control their offensive line a little bit more, get the players there to protect Joe Burrow, and then the team is going to be perfectly fine. I think if you give Joe Burrow a little bit more time in the pocket, that gives Jamar Chase and T. Higgins a little bit more time to get open. I feel like that brings a lot more touchdowns over to Cincinnati and a lot more win games.
And like you said with the coaching staff, like what you have a pocket passer in Joe Burrow. Wouldn't it be the first thing that you think of to get him some protection after you got him weapons on the outside? Oh, let's look at the protection. Maybe let's keep him healthy for a little longer. We're putting all this money into him. Let's get him some protection so we can win some games. The coaching staff just doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, and that's a problem, and not even just that. Their run offense. You can't even run the ball with one of the best running backs in the league because they can't protect him.
Yep.
They cannot protect him. He can get 2 yards a carry when really he should be getting 8 to 10 yards.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon is one of the best running backs. He's one of the best running backs in the league, and he can't even get the ball unless it's off of a pass, which is not his game because you are not protecting the backfield. You're not protecting it at all. So what's the point of even playing football? You might as well not even have a freaking backfield, and you might as well just put the quarterback on the line because you can't protect them anyways.
Mm.
So I don't know. That's for me. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are done because of this. I think Joe Burrow is going to want out if they don't get him an offensive line soon. Joe Mixon's going to want money. T. Higgins is going to want more money than he's worth. Jamar Chase is going to look at this and be like, all right, well, if everybody else is leaving, I'm going to leave too. I just think that this is a bad situation for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, I think it's a very bad situation, and it's only going to get worse. And the worst of the worst is Burrow goes down. Might actually be a blessing if he goes down, so they can wrap it up.
I wouldn't call that. I wouldn't call it that. I mean, Joe Burrow is a great quarterback. Like I said, he's top 3 in the league. The problem is not Joe Burrow. The problem is the staff and not getting them help on the offensive line and not even getting them help on the defense, because if something happens where it is Joe Burrow's the problem, then after that, we can look at it and be like, all right, well, how's the defense doing? And then we look at the defense and they're giving up 24 points a game. So what do you want us to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with that being said, I mean, do you have anything else to add, Mozzie, before I close it up?
Last thing I want to say is I can't believe the Chicago Bears haven't won a game since Elon Musk bought Twitter. That is the last thing that I want to say.
Get Justin Fields out of there.
Get him out of
Hashtag free Justin Fields.
Yeah, put it on Twitter. Elon.
But with that being said, that's all for the Live 5 list. We're going to head over to the Crazy One segment, which for this one, we definitely don't have an NFL play for this week. We actually have college play, so stay tuned for more.
Welcome back. Live Zone Sports, Mozzie here with the one, the only, the legendary Live Zone, back with
Yes, sir.
another crazy one. This week we're diving into the college football world. Couple of great plays out there in the college football world. I want to shout out the LSU game. The wide receiver from LSU with 3 great touchdown catches. Also the UCF football game when the quarterback was scrambling. A couple of
Crazy
great
play.
shout outs.
Crazy
But when
play.
I saw this play, I knew it was the one, the crazy one. Live Zone, you want to take it away with this one?
Sure, I got you.
All right, let's give it a play.
So what we have around here is the quarterback says hike. He gets the ball. He's scrambling a little bit, has 2 defenders on him. And then out of nowhere, this guy, tight end, with the crazy one-hand grab for the touchdown. I mean, it's an insane grab. It looks like a Randy Moss grab that we got going on here. How do you feel about the grabs of this play? Like Finn Hogan really looking like a stud for NFL teams to watch out for.
Yeah, what a full extension on it. Finn Hogan. I don't know if he's a name that we're going to come to know in our households or whatnot, but hey, it's a great way to start it off, making a catch like that. Giving your team the energy down 14-10 at this time. Coming back and ended up winning the game 38-27. I mean, it's just a great route, great play, great throw. There's nothing more you can say. Reaches back, grabs it one-handed, and in for the touchdown. I just think it's a great extension.
And that's what I was going to say. I mean, even looking at the quarterback, what a great throw, having 2 defenders coming at him full speed. And then after that, scrambling out of the pocket to off of one leg, throwing a pass like that to a wide open tight end that, made like a Randy Moss catch. I mean, it looked really good. I mean, I agree with you. This is a crazy one with that full extent. Phenomenal catch, a phenomenal play, and a phenomenal win for this up and coming team.
Yes, and honestly, in the video, you can see the throw's actually a little bit behind him too. He had the defender completely beat. The quarterback obviously had some defenders in his face.
Pretty
but
much Moss. I mean, great pick off of you, Mozzie. Great play, and honestly, I can't wait to see more from this team after seeing that one play. But with that being said, that has been all for the Live Zone Sports podcast number 2 in the books. I want you to subscribe, stay tuned for more, follow our socials, go to our website, go follow us on Spotify, do what you can, show your friends.
Let us know what you want to hear, what you want us to talk about, what pressing issues you need to hear, and be on the lookout for our
Make sure you stay tuned for it.
Coming to social medias and TikToks and Instagrams and wherever you can watch a video, it'll be.